Here we go again. So, in that I am teaching at the end of April or the beginning of May, the Stories with Soul life writing workshop again. And in March, we're doing a group writing course to take people kind of step by step with some group coaching and mentoring and teaching about writing. So this is something that I'm kind of living again through all of these concepts about writing. But it's also very timely because it's the Chinese New Year. So, sorry, I don't know what happened here at this new little place I'm in. Internet dropped out, something dropped out. So here I am, I'm back. I'll give our peeps a moment and I'll have some tea. Hi, Sarah. I know you may have to run away, so thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing the videos. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, Maureen. We're making it happen, rolling with it. So again, the context. What's up, Melvin? Glad you got your book. So the context for today's discussion is Chinese New Year. So I highly recommend, I don't know if Sarah, before you leave, if you can find the link for, I think I posted it at the Real Self-Love Movement, the link for Nick Haines's masterclass on Chinese New Year. This is the year of the Earth Dog. The Earth energy is all about harvesting, nurturing, and supporting others. It's gathering time. And if you think about dogs, generally they're loyal and they're faithful. So this year of the Earth Dog, as Nick was explaining it to us, is really an opportunity for us to look back, which I love. This is the thing I love about how he explains this Chinese astrology thing. So what blew my mind when we did this last year, February of last year, was going back to 2012. 2012 was the year of the water dragon. So, excuse me, guys. So each year you're associated with one of the Chinese elements. So wood, water, fire, metal, earth. And there's also one of these animals or mythical creatures. So in 2012, when it was the year of the water dragon, Nick was explaining that the dragon is the one mythical animal of the Chinese zodiac. Like, most of us were born in the year of sorry guys, the year of the cat or the dog or the rat or the snake or whatever, the rooster, the monkey. And the dragon is this creature that can go into the heavens and brings down messages from the heavens, if you will. So what Nick was saying was go back to 2012 and see what was the message that this water dragon brought to you. Typically, it's kind of like it might have been your quote-unquote calling, the thing that you were supposed to act on or do. And he also mentioned yesterday in the masterclass that 2017, the year of the fire monkey, the fire rooster. The year before that was the fire monkey, who was a cheeky little guy. Anyway, but in 2017, you might have got a sense of refinement of that, or a revisiting to the very same message you got in 2012. So all that aside, it means that if you did have some calling, if there was some calling that came to you, you might look back on 2012 to see what what the divine was trying to bring to you then. Because this year is about bringing together and assimilating the energies of the past and your present, which could be a lot about relationships, the people or the opportunities to make that vision come true. And so I thought it was interesting for me as I looked back on refusal of the call, then looking at all of these retreats and workshops where indeed, as a teacher and a facilitator of healing and transformation, I could see how the energy that I brought to the space and the openness and the intention of people who were coming for whatever it is they were coming for, it was being manifested. The healing was taking place. And that's when I realized, oh, I am a healer. I am a therapist. And that happened for me last year. And so when I went back to 2012, yeah, Shelley, that was when you received the vision that you're moving forward with now. I mean, isn't it uncanny? And Sarah Kate, I'm curious to know what you're saying is apt for you too. But, and I know, Sarah, you had some existential awakenings in 2017. It's like, what was the message that the universe was trying to tell you? The good news is 2018, this year of the Earth Dog, could be a really momentous year for us. Hopefully we've been doing work, and Nick always says, look, you got the message in 2012. Hopefully in 2013 and 14, you were starting to put a plan in place to make it happen. And, as he said, 2017 may have been a reminder. But if you've been doing the work, you can actually be in a major harvesting. And that's what last year was for me, I think, in a big way, because I did put in the work in 2012 and 2013. When I got the message in 2012, I started. I was still in refusal, but when I look back on my notes, it was all about teaching about the soul and that we live in this energy matrix, like everything is energy, We live in a matrix of energy and information. And if we want to change our health, if we want to change our mental well-being, if we want to manifest something in our business, and Leslie's just joined, she manifested some juicy, delicious things moving from America to Spain. If we want to manifest these things, it's not all about, doing vision boards and chanting mantras. It's recognizing how the universe really works, right? Sorry. Melvin says, the universe needs to send you a cheat sheet. I love it. Let me read some of your comments while my throat just quits. The universe needs to send you. So you thought you were on path, Melvin, but you're scrambled. Sarah just posted the link. Seriously, Melvin, go watch the replay. You may have to find it. I don't know if you sent the link to the sign-up form or the replay. But anyway, watch it. Because gaining insight into what we're doing and where we're getting hung up is like the biggest thing. Which, believe me, this whole coughing thing, I'm gaining my insight as well. So Sarah says, the message for you is to leap, stop being scared. You need to follow your heart, not your head, and definitely stop listening to your inner parent voice that tells me to always do I can't see the rest of it. Watch that replay with Nick, because he talks about not listening to the barking dogs. There may be a yapping little dog in our head. For me, yeah, it was also a parent voice. And being willing to say, I'm going to go digging through the earth to find that bone of what was really true to my heart, and I'm going to live it, because that's what this year can be. So if you have been feeling a calling, if you're willing to finally say, I'm ready to do life a different way. I'm ready to take this leap. The good news is, I mean, look at any of the amazing, magical movies we love, right? From Star Wars to The Matrix to Disney to whatever. The hero's journey always involves meeting a mentor, finding these new resources that are going to help you on your quest. So you're never really alone. It feels scary because we are going into the unknown. We're leaving the conformity box, which even though it was uncomfortable, at least we knew it. But the journey means that we're going to find what we need. And the universe, I said this to someone recently, the universe ain't going to leave you out there floundering. Okay? So, Shelley, personal development work between then and now has helped you to have the clarity and courage to take the leap. Awesome sauce. So yeah, Melvin, there is a replay of Nick Haines' webinar, so I'll post it afterward. I ain't gonna stay on here much longer because this throat. I'm not enjoying it. So, Leslie, where are you in France? You say you're here in France at the moment. Ooh, where? Anyway, so I'm excited about this because as I have said yes to my calling, it happened last year after the Chinese New Year event with Nick. I ended up having a session with the Pandora star, which is over there, glowing. See that thing blue glowing over there? That is the Pandora star. And I remember feeling a bit like you, Melvin. I felt scrambled last year. I was being pulled in multiple directions. I was like, I am not feeling the clarity. I need some clarity. So I decided to go into meditation and really ask for inspiration, ask for guidance, to put down, this is the key, to surrender, put down your plan, lay aside your map that you thought you were following and just say, even if it's only for 5 minutes, I'm going to say, okay, maybe my way ain't the right way. Let me ask. And as I went into that meditative experience and was in total surrender, and it happens every time I surrender. I mean, every time. Every time I surrender to the divine, I'm not saying surrender as in, I give up, oh, life is too hard. No, but every time I say, God, I don't know what I'm doing, and I surrender, it's as if I can almost hear my guides, angels, whatever, going, come on, we got to do this now. She's given us an opening. And that's when I start to get these downloads of insight and inspiration. And so every time I surrender and I go into one of these meditative spaces and I, ask, okay, give me the guidance. What is it I really need to be doing? What do I need to see? And these days I'm getting a little better about doing something that comes from A Course in Miracles, and that is to just sort of recite, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? And then to shut up and listen. It's as if you're asking the divine, where do you really want me? Where am I going to be best positioned to do the work of my soul? And the reason at the beginning of this live, not this one, but the one that got cut off just a few minutes ago, at the beginning I asked, where do you think that call comes from? If you are being called onto a new journey in life, if you believe that it's coming from a divine place, then that should give you at least a little bit of confidence to say, okay, then show me the path. Show me, where I need to go next. And maybe you'll have a little bit of confidence to say, even if I can't see the next step, I'm going to trust. Because the divine is not going to call you to something to have you fall flat on your face. It's just not how God works. The divine is not going to call you to something and not either give you the resources you need or help you develop the resources that are already within you. And they're really already within you. Sometimes we do need a mentor. We need, a Yoda, or what was the guy that helped Batman when he first, had to learn how to use his stuff? I felt like that in my younger years, feeling like I wish there was someone who could help me develop my superpowers. When I realized that I was psychic, that I could see things before they happened, I had dreams, I could kind of see things at a distance, I could heal. When I started to recognize it, it was like, first I thought I was a little weird. Alfred, thank you, Melvin. I was like, dang, I wish I had an Alfred. I wish I had somebody who could just teach me how to use my stuff. Or, I'm definitely going to give away my age. But y'all remember that show, The Greatest American Hero, right? Yes, Tony Stark to a young Spider-Man. Do you remember The Greatest American Hero? It was like learning how to fly and like falling all the time and crashing into stuff. That's what I wish. I wish like I felt like so clumsy. Hey, Shimoni. Hey, Gita. Lovely to have you all here. We're just talking about life purpose and answering the hero's call. Sorry. The call of the divine, so that we can be a hero in our life journey. So I am going to get off because I'm tired of coughing. That's not a fun Facebook Live experience. I hope that this was insightful. I hope that you'll go back and watch part 1 before the internet dropped off, and really go back and have a look at the Nick Haines webinar on this Chinese New Year. Like, Happy New Year, y'all. Yes, I'm glad that you were here too, Leslie. And then there's Dr. P1 and 2. Yeah. I refused it, Janet. I was like, and it was so nice when my mother and I were working together. It was like, if I didn't want to do all this deep digging into people's past, I could just be like, oh, you need to go see my mom, Dr. P. Poof. Story done. Just refer people away. But now it's part of my life's calling. I just do my therapy and my healing in a completely different way. But I am truly loving it. And I love having these superpowers now. I love knowing that we can work with people almost without even saying a word. We don't even have to be in the same space. Recognizing that we live in this web of energy and information, that we're always connected to the divine, but also always connected to one another. We can be in multiple places at once. Excuse me. I was mentioning that to Romeo today, that when I started to read about some of these Qigong masters, I practice a type of Qigong. Janet, you were here with us in France doing that Qigong, you remember. The type of Qigong that I practice is called Jineng Qigong, out of China. And reading about these masters of Qigong who could be in 2 places at once. Did you just hear what I said? How is it possible? So, for example, they were telling us the story of this person who was very, very sick, who got someone to drive him in this little town on the side of a mountain. I think it was somewhere, way out in China. And they had to drive for hours along this windy path, scary, kind of off the sides of cliffs and whatnot. Jineng is Z, as in Zeb, or you in the UK would say Zed, wouldn't you? Z-H-I-N-E-N-G, Jineng Qigong. I posted a video on my website about it. Anyway, so this guy's paid someone to drive him to see this master. After hours and hours, he gets there, and the wife answers the door and says, "Oh, please have a seat here. My husband will be right with you." And the guy's kind of there, and he's waiting, and he expects the guy to kind of come out from the kitchen or the bedroom or something. But no, he comes through the front door. And he's like, "Oh, well, I just arrived. Where were you? I would have crossed you on the path." And the man kind of looked at his wife and kind of sheepishly mumbled something and went and started to wash his hands. And the guy says to the wife, "What did he say? Where did he say he was?" And she mentioned some town. But the town was on the other side of the mountain. So he's kind of like, "That's not possible. That's a 2-day journey." And the wife just sort of looked at the husband, and anyway, the long and short of it is, yes, it was possible for this Qigong master. You could call it teleportation. I don't think the Chinese call it that. But anyway, yes, it's possible to be in multiple places at once, doing the healing work. Yeah, mind-blowing, I know. And I've experienced it personally. Kind of mind-blowing. But it's one of those things, again, that I say, before it was just sort of for fun. It was like, that's interesting. This is just kind of cool. Do it on the weekend. Yeah, I know, Shimoni. We'll have to talk offline, girlfriend. You don't even want to know. Oh la la, the stories I could swap. But I digress. Actually, you know someone who's really well versed in this whole time warping, being in multiple places. Like when you really start to recognize even how I think Einstein said that mathematically he had worked out like 13 dimensions, but he knew that there were more. He's like, I know there are more than these 13 dimensions, but these are the ones that I could work out sort of, mathematically. We're living in a multidimensional world. And time appears linear for us. We think things happen from, one time period to another. When in actuality, they're happening simultaneously. And we think that I'm here in Cannes, the south of France, but is there really a distance between energy and information? I mean, how much of a lag is there for you, Shaquille, or Shimoni, who's in the UK, and you, Janet, in the United States, and, Gita up in Denmark? If you really think about it, we're all connected. Anyway, that was not the topic of today's discussion. If this is of interest to any of you and you want to really go deeper down the rabbit hole, I'll share. I'm happy to share. I learned a lot more from Steve Richards from Holographic Kinetics. And one of our tribe members, Trevor Hahn, is taking the Holographic Kinetics training this week. It's a little mind-blowing to understand all this multidimensional stuff that the Australian Aborigines in their Dreamtime healing have been talking about for the last 60,000 years. Yeah, you heard me right. So it was interesting because on one of the days, Steve Richards shared several videos that will blow your mind. And yeah, so if that's of interest to anyone, type it in the comments or send me a message, and we'll have a very special discussion about that sort of really out there multidimensional stuff. But today was just really to get dialed into this idea that for the Chinese New Year, if there has been a calling on your life, a calling to do something new, change something, be something, evolve, or leave something behind, I want you to look at that. Look back at 2017 and see what the lessons were. Look back at 2012. What was that water dragon trying to bring to you from the heavens? What was that message? Did you take heed? It's not too late, because 2018 could be a magnificent year for you to really gather up your resources and manifest that. So, it's about being faithful to your vision, about being faithful. As I've said many times, the lovely Reverend Jane Howard Feldman told me, Andrea, it's time for you to become a disciple. We were talking about discipline, and when you get to the root of the word discipline, she said you need to become a disciple to your higher self, not the ego, because the ego will have you going up and down all kinds of rabbit holes, denying your path. But when we decide that we're going to be in alignment with something higher, then life can really become magnificent. You can become the hero on that journey, and your life can become something entirely new. But you're not alone. And yes, Gita, we can also send our heart energy over long distances. Yes, Sienna and I have been doing that lately. Gita writes about, sending our heart energy, our love, over a love bridge, and people will feel it instantaneously. So, yeah, I love it too, Shimoni. So, believe me, I've had some juicy conversations with Reverend Jane where it's like, oh, that's good. Disciple to your higher self. That's the discipline. And so the year of the earth dog, what is a dog? A dog is faithful and loyal. It's about being faithful and loyal to that higher vision, that higher calling. So maybe you're ready. Maybe if you've been refusing the call like I was, last year, I saw the light. And I'm so excited to say that last week, while teaching in California, I had the beautiful opportunity to finally so sorry, guys. I really am. Don't worry, because it's really at the end, I promise you. Last week, I really got to see in action the next level manifestation of all the stuff. So for some of you, I know I don't even know what time it is. I need to get off of here. When I did that Best Year Yet workshop with some of you, where we spent a few hours creating our major focus for the year, because of doing that system year after year, it was easy for me to go back and pull up my Best Year Yet 10 questions and my new paradigm and my focus for 2012. Honey, mind blown. Because all of the things that I said that I was manifesting for 2013, little by little, yes, they have been manifested over the last couple of years. But I got to see, I want to say the full, I'm sure there's even more of a fullness, as a flower's blooming, you're thinking, oh, it's fully bloomed. But last week I got to see the full bloom of many of those things that were set into action. So I'm specifically talking about teaching the attunement meditation process, helping people clear past trauma, going beyond just the regular psychology methods, which are useful. I write about them in all my books, things about healing that wounded inner child, but really starting to clear the bioenergetic field. We'll talk about this on another, gosh, I mean, I got content for days I want to talk to you about. But when you start to recognize that we live in an energetic world, everything is energy, including our body, and our consciousness gets to direct the flow of this energy and information. It's not happening in the brain. The brain can become this sort of filtering mechanism. But the aura, you know, this body field, this auric field, it stores these memories. So any traumatic or blissful experience is imprinted in our energetic field, and that can influence our health. So even the imprints from our soul, we were talking, somebody and I were talking about the Akashic records and sort of looking back at past lifetimes to finally understand what some of these patterns that our soul was having to keep reliving. You know, if you don't learn the lessons, they're going to keep showing up as quote-unquote tests. But if you can finally get the answer, it makes it much easier. And when you can finally not just have an intellectual understanding of the trauma that you experienced in your childhood of, you know, you missed this person, or you had an abusive that, or an alcoholic that, whatever. Like, you can have an intellectual understanding. You may have been to therapy to work it out. But on an energetic level, there needs to be, in many cases, a clearing so that you can clear that traumatic memory out of your auric field, out of your cells, out of your brain, so that you can move on and get on with life. And we got to do some of that in this workshop. And it was so profound because, again, stuff that you think you've worked out in your head, but it still keeps showing up in your life, and you're like, why? I get it. I get it intellectually. Why is this still tripping me up? We got to release that. And so that's what I'm up to. So what you'll be seeing with the Real Self-Love movement, with all of the workshops that I will be providing in these various cities and countries around the world, that's where we're going to be going. We're going to be going deep so that whatever it is you're trying to manifest, whether that's a business or it's healing or it's getting a book done or it's manifesting a relationship, we're going to look at, I love what you're saying. Yes, Ebony, reset your circuit board, your brain. I call it, you know, clearing out the debris, debugging your computer so that you can return to the original source code. You know, it's like with all of the electrical devices we have around, usually there's like a hard reset button, or there's something that says restore factory defaults. Well, we can do that with us. You know, our body, our life is meant to be one lived in flow, with ease and grace and fulfillment and joy and bliss and vitality and, yes, sensuality and, yes, prosperity. But if we have blocks to abundance or bliss or wellness, we just need to get rid of them. It doesn't mean that we're not worthy. It doesn't mean that we're bad or defective or wrong. It just means we need to debug the computer, get that stuff out so that we can, yes, as you say, Ebony, harness your superpower. And yes, Janet, you can definitely do the replay for the best year yet. I will pop it into the notes here. Watch it, do it. I'm telling you, I've been doing it now for 10 years, I think. It's life-changing. Only because I feel like consciousness is life-changing. When we are ignorant or blind to something, it makes it really hard for us to change or evolve or to modify or improve. But once we have that light bulb go on, Ebony Love, once we have that consciousness, that awareness, that insight, then we can finally make a difference to ourselves and to people that we care about. And that's what doing this process of the best year yet has done for me. It's allowed me to look at the patterns with real honesty, to understand, what am I doing to trip myself up? What am I doing to block myself from achieving what it is I say I want to achieve? And then finding my way to get back in touch with the source so that I'm living powerfully. And so I will pop the link in for that, for anyone who would like to rewatch it. It's not too late. Typically we do it around New Year's, but hey, it's Chinese New Year, so you get a do-over if you didn't do it back in January. Do it now, and then you'll see the process, and you can kind of look back, go back to 2012 if you can. When you're doing the best year yet, we're going to do it for 2017 during the workshop, but you can very easily do the same thing for 2012 to kind of see, what were the lessons? What was I really trying to bring from the heavens to manifest? So yeah, so much good stuff is in store for us together in this beautiful community for 2018. With the Real Self-Love Movement, we've got 3 events planned. The beautiful Karina, Virginia, and I are looking to do this summer a 3-day retreat on the French Riviera, and including a 1-day intensive in Monte Carlo. I believe the beautiful Solveig Þórarinsdóttir, Sol, as we call her, who's also one of the authors in Time to Rise, I believe we will be working together in Iceland. So if you have never visited Iceland, which is such a beautiful country, we're going to be doing something up there. Of course, I'm coming back to Denmark. What is a year without being in Denmark at least a few times? And the UK. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to work together on business, on love, relationships, healing, past trauma, writing books. Our newest book project will be Life After Trauma, and specifically if you know anyone who has experienced love, sex, or relationship trauma or abuse, and they have a story of how they've gotten past it, and not only did they survive, but now they are thriving. We want to show the world that just because something happened, it doesn't have to be some mark on you forever that prevents you from having a beautiful, blissful relationship, sexual and intimate relationship, and just happiness in life. We are wired for bliss. We are entitled to experience bliss. And so that's what I want people to experience. So voila, that is my little update for you after being away. I'm sure by next week, all of this is going to be gone. So I'm going to just be ranting and raving, giving you all my verbal cups of tea. But I really look forward to working with many of you online and in person for these writing projects, for healing, for love, for fun. Man, no matter what, we always have fun. Isn't that the truth? For all y'all who've been at the events, whether it was the speaker training or personal branding or the roots of purpose, don't we have fun? Yeah. It's like fun times in beautiful places where you get to go deep, but you also get to let go of the stuff that might be holding you back. And yes, I actually think we're going to be doing some stuff in the United States. So for my Americans, don't worry, I'm coming back to the US to do some more stuff there. I actually had such a good time that yes, I would be happy to do some stuff in the United States. But y'all can travel, get your passports ready, you know. Anyway, my friends, I wish you so much love for this weekend, this first week of the Chinese New Year, and I pray that you continue to feel inspired. It doesn't matter what's going on in your world. There's hope and there's help for you. And in this community, there is so much love for you. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. And until then, remember that you are a gift to the world. So share your presence with passion. Much love. Bye.